When Stephen Atkinson's wife passed away, the loss left an unimaginable void.
I moved into an apartment and, it was a nice apartment, but it was just dead.
He says volunteering at the Calgary Humane Society has provided him with a source of comfort and connection. Not only has helping out here given Stephen a reminder that he's still very much needed, but it provided him with companions, two cats named Dylan and Carlos.
One thinks nothing in the world will ever harm him, so he wanders around. His big brother looks out for things. So bring them in, you've got some life. What do you think? They come and greet you when you come home, and they make sure you get up in the morning and you have a purpose.
How do the cats suit your lifestyle?
Perfectly. They don't care if I leave, as long as I come home. Yeah, they're, you can't ask for better. You don't have to walk them in the snow or in the rain, or they're just there for you. Well, I was already volunteering here, and our last cat was 16 years old. He hadn't been gone too long. I needed something. You have to have a purpose in life, don't you? I mean, as a man, it's your job. Well, I don't have a job anymore, so I need one, and this is it.
But you could go anywhere.
Oh yeah,
Volunteer.
yeah.
What is it about being here?
It's the animals. Yeah. Turns out the staff are pretty good too. People say, what I do for the shelter is nothing compared to what the shelter does for me. So.
In this Unison TV story, we look at the pros and cons of pet ownership for older adults and what's being done to help keep seniors and their pets together.
From just a lived experience perspective, seniors and pets together, they just round out that family unit. When you're reaching into your senior years, you might be facing things like isolation. If family members have passed away, your social circle might be shrinking depending on mobility and things like that. Pets remain that connection to a living being, that connection to family, and just that connection in and of itself to a living being. So the benefits of that relationship shared between a pet and a senior is indescribable. It means the world to both of them. From a scientific perspective, there is proof that pet ownership can contribute towards actually a healthier lifestyle, that it improves feelings of happiness, so it diminishes feelings of depression, it improves heart health. It actually has even been linked into diminishing things like cognitive decline. So pet ownership literally keeps people healthier. And on the flip side, pets rely on us to keep them healthy and happy. So it is a very symbiotic, balanced relationship, especially when folks have access to care to ensure that they can provide those needs to their animal.
Have you heard that it actually gets people outside more as well?
Absolutely. We hear this all the time that no matter what it is, if it's a dog, it's getting them outside for walks and things like that. But even other small animals, cats and critters and exotics, can get them out to the vet, can get them out talking into different social circles. Pet ownership really motivates people to get up, to get moving, to get, again, connected even beyond that animal themselves. So it absolutely does help motivate people to go out and join the world.
Do you find there's any particular types of pets that are better for older adults?
I think it's totally an individual preference and the lifestyle that one is looking for. I've met tons and tons of seniors with small dogs, with large dogs, and that might be from their perspective. That's the type of lifestyle they're looking for, depending on their home setting, depending on their physical mobility. A larger dog might be their preference. Some prefer cats. They might prefer something a little bit quieter at home, depending on their comfort with walks and their safety with walks. That might be an option. We've met folks in wheelchairs and things like that where those more small animals like birds or cats are really the best fit for them. It ultimately just boils down to their lifestyle and how they can contribute towards that lifestyle safely and appropriately for both of them.
Or even things like a hamster or a turtle, anything.
Yeah,
can have
absolutely.
That effect.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the animal is.
No. The size of the connection is not correlated to the size of the animal whatsoever. These folks love their animals, whether that is a small critter like a hamster, a bird, rabbits, cats, dogs. All of them have that beautiful, large, wonderful relationship that they just love each other so deeply. Where I see preference for the age of the animal really playing in is might be where individuals are at a certain stage of their life that they are making a conscious decision to not necessarily bring home an infant animal, just making sure that they're long-term planning. But that isn't a rule necessarily. Some folks do bring home kittens and puppies, and it's again just that beautiful relationship. These are folks that might have grandchildren, might have family members that can assist them with that raising, and that they do still have that long life ahead of them, that they can really commit to that entire lifespan with that animal. So again, it's really a thoughtful decision made by individuals on what they can provide and what their long-term planning really looks like.
Yeah, you mentioned long-term planning. How important is that to keep in mind that you may need someone else to care for that pet if you're no longer here?
Yeah, and this is a consideration that many do have, but it's not necessarily an opportunity that everybody has. Again, depending on that social circle, that level of connection to other people that they have, not everyone has that opportunity. But it's still something that everybody thinks about because they always want the best for their animal. And then that's where they reach out to different resources, such as Calgary Humane Society, for what to do in the event that they need that care for their pet if they themselves are displaced for hospitalization or they are at their own end of life. And so this is where Calgary Humane Society can really play into that thoughtful planning to make sure that their pet is cared for in a way that they are most comfortable with. I think if someone is facing having to move into any sort of housing where their pet no longer is welcome, to reach out as soon as possible really is the best thing. It's not something that by virtue of reaching out you have to follow through with right away if that is ultimately rehoming that animal. But by virtue of reaching out, it can come with that confidence and that assurance that they know what exactly they will do should that moment come. And that might be things like choosing a local humane society like Calgary Humane to assist in the rehoming of them, and other long-term sort of options that they might have if they themselves don't have friends or family to assist with that kind of thing. And that's exactly why humane societies exist, is to help with that transition, to where we can maintain that connection and where that is no longer an option, to help facilitate that transition in a way that protects and honors the relationship that those two shared, but to make sure that there's dignity and honor and safety for both parties as we facilitate that transition into a new home. Yes, yes, absolutely. This is where many folks have chosen to make very specific plans in their will for their pet. And that can be that going to a specific individual. Sometimes that is going into a rescue of their choosing. And again, I think it just boils down to that confidence of, if that happens, I know where my animal is going. Somebody knows that it is their role to step in and make sure my animal gets to that place, and that place is equipped to facilitate the next steps for my pet in a way that I feel most comfortable with.
What are some of the things that seniors specifically should be aware of before they consider that maybe some drawbacks about having a pet for them?
I think the biggest challenge for any pet owner, but especially someone living on some sort of fixed income or fixed mobility, is the emergencies that can come up. A sick tummy that now the animal isn't eating and might be declining and things like that. Even a fall where they might hurt a limb or something. This can come suddenly, it can come without warning, and it can come with some costs associated. So the best thing to do is to just be as prepared as possible for those moments, to know which clinic you are going to go to have a relationship with that clinic. Ideally, the animal has gone there before for things like your routine vet care, your vaccines. A vet-client relationship is a very powerful and important thing, and one that I encourage everyone to always have, because when it comes down to that emergency, it's important you know who is going to be looking after your animal, that they understand your situation, and that they can come up with a plan that fits within that situation. And this boils down to having that relationship. And where folks might then struggle with the finances to access into care like that, we do know that cost of living can be very challenging. You can do everything right and still not be able to afford that multi-$1,000 bill. To reach out, again, be as proactive as possible. Things like pet insurance really helps out if that is within someone's finances. And if not, reach out to places like Calgary Humane Society. We do have programs intended specifically for this, to assist in making sure that families stay together, that nobody loses their relationship at the mercy of an emergency. We do have our seniors program. This is for individuals 65 and older that have pets that might not be in a position to be able to access the care that their animal needs. That is often in terms of things of vulnerability and as well as compounded by the finances associated with that access to care. So our seniors program is designed to carve out those pathways to ensure that those folks can still get the care that their animal needs within that sort of timely fashion. So, and we intentionally keep that as broad as we possibly can, just making sure that there's a variety of needs that could be required for that animal, from everywhere from a vaccine to just a checkup to a spay neuter, all the way up to that more emergency type care. Our program is designed to make sure that we can do this thoughtfully within an appropriate amount of time, but that individuals can thoughtfully go to their clinic, have a conversation with their vet, and come up with a treatment plan that exists within the scope of the program. Yeah, absolutely. In fact, we just launched a public campaign alongside of the city of Calgary, really drawing attention to the fact that Calgary does need more pet-friendly, affordable housing. Pets are part of the family, and nobody should have to choose between a member of their family and a roof over their head. And in doing so, and bringing attention to this matter, any sort of landlord that we can encourage to make a change to becoming pet friendly, we've also designed and equipped them with tools to do this thoughtfully, respecting their property and ensuring the integrity within their property maintains by reducing things like damage and risk. So we do have our program toolkit, which really provides all of the education and facts that we found out through the University of Calgary on this particular subject, as well as then a landlord toolkit, which includes things like a pet addendum and a variety of other tools to help them become very thoughtfully pet friendly, as well as toolkits for tenants as well, to be responsible pet owners, to make sure that their animal is equipped with all the things that are necessary to live safely and peacefully in a shared living environment. So, it is becoming a much larger issue. Surrendering based off of access to affordable housing is one of the leading reasons we see animals brought into the shelter. Over 500 animals come in under these circumstances every single year. It accounts for about 15% of our overall intake, which is quite a sizable amount when we measure it out across all of the different types of motivations behind a surrender. So it is something that we really, really want to see start to change in our community, to really, really preserve that relationship that exists between a human and an animal, and that everyone has the right to safe and affordable housing. Oh yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, welcoming an animal into the home is an incredible gift. It is a wonderful thing to do, but it does come with responsibility. We as pet owners are responsible for providing the vet care, providing appropriate housing, food and water, as well as their own right to that social enrichment and that mental engagement. They need to be stimulated just as we all do. And so for different animals, that might look like different things. For dogs, it's going on walks and potentially providing different types of toys and food enrichment. For cats, it's providing an environment where it abides by their natural behaviors, their ability to play appropriately. It looks different for every single type of species. So another really big thing every responsible pet owner needs to remember to do is to inform yourself on exactly what that animal does require, and just be prepared to provide that. And we at Calgary Humane Society are more than happy to provide guidance, education on both what those animals need and how to be very creative in how to provide those needs to those animals. There's so many different types of in-home enrichment for dogs. It's not singularly walking. That is a big one. But there's ways to engage their brains. There are things that we can help people with. There's things called snuffle mats where you can hide treats in it and they kind of have to sniff their way through. Lots of stores, and even in our food bank here, we have puzzle feeders where it requires them to use their brain to find and source the food and things like that. Sniffing is a big natural behavior to dogs, and there's ways in which you can lay out your environment for them to then be able to sniff and engage in that. There is some indication that sniffing for 20 minutes is as enriching to a dog as a 1 hour long walk. So being diverse too with your types of enrichment for your animals is a huge benefit to them. You don't necessarily have to go on an hour-long walk every single day. Going outside for that 20-minute walk plus a little bit of food enrichment plus some smell enrichment or scent enrichment can be a really fantastic way to provide a very enriched, very robust and loving environment for that animal. Yeah. People call it sniffaries. They do this all the time. And it can be taking that animal, instead of necessarily going to the park and throwing a ball, which, don't get me wrong, in and of itself is a wonderful opportunity for that animal. But even putting them on a leash and taking them to different environments that they've never been before. And if it's a safe environment to do so, just letting that dog on that leash safely, just walk where it wants to walk and follow their nose. They love it. And it's a great way to condense down some of the time spent, because it's so much time on their brain that it really can tire them out.
Right. But that needs to be outside of the home.
It can be inside.
You can do the sniffing business
inside
the home.
Yeah, absolutely. It's best to have that guided by a trainer. People might go online and hear things like essential oils. Not every essential oil is safe for an animal, so it really should be guided by an accredited professional like a veterinarian and a trainer. But there are ways that you can place different scents in different boxes and hide it around the house or into different materials. Basically, if it's something that they haven't necessarily had access to regularly, if it's safe for them, you can bring it out and allow them to explore it really nicely.